The average lifespan of a person is typically 75 years. 75 winters, 75 springs, 75 summers, and 75 autumns. When looking at it like that, it's not much time. If you're 20, that means you only got like 50 summers left. And shit, that's only if you're lucky. Some people only have 15, 10, or maybe even 5. We shouldn't waste them on the superficial things that preoccupy our existence. Let's look at what's important now. Don't drop everything and make the world come to a grinding halt. But you can see more, do more, get in touch with the side of you that lives instead of fears, and the part of you that loves instead of hates. I think it's safe to say that we can all think of somebody, either it be a celebrity or someone you know personally, that had untapped potential, an inability to fully showcase their ability. Either they die really early on in their life, or the passion they have for something slowly withers away with time, and they just end up settling for a job at Walgreens or something. It's the most unfortunate thing ever. It makes you question the different possibilities and possible different outcomes they could have potentially had. There's poop on the floor. There's one story in particular about someone's life that always makes me feel more determined to experience life and express myself and my creativity without fear of judgment and or hesitation to take on new endeavors or difficult tasks. It's not so much about what this man did while he was alive, and more so about what had happened once he was gone. It brought me a new perspective on why things shouldn't be put aside for later, and why it's important for things to be said and done now. This man's name was Franz Kafka. Yo, hold on. Don't leave. Hold on. Let me explain this. Hold up. Wait. I know this sounds like a school lecture since I'm talking about an old-ass German author from the early 1900s, but let me explain. Alright, so Kafka. Now, if you're an avid reader or writer, you probably know who Kafka is, or at least know of his style of writing and the impact he had on most. But if you don't know, Franz Kafka was a German author back in the early 1900s. He tried publishing a few of his writings here and there, but it never really caught traction. He mostly spent his life miserably working at an insurance company and was a writer during his free time when he wasn't working long hours at his job. He unfortunately died pretty early on in his life due to contracting tuberculosis only 2 years after he retired in 1924 at the age of 41. But before he died, he left his bodies of work with his boy Max Brod and told him to burn his writing because he was ashamed and didn't want the public to see or know of his writing. Max said, "Fuck that," went against Kafka's wishes, then edited and published his many short stories and novels and took all the credit. Nah, I'm just playing. But that would be crazy. That would have been crazy. Max believed and saw what Kafka couldn't, thus garnishing Kafka worldwide praise and creating a new style of writing called Kafkaesque. Now Kafka is known to be one of the greatest literary figures in recent history. Pretty cool, right? But he never received any success or praise during his lifetime, instead dying believing his work was worthless. We can only wonder how many modern Kafkas walk among us scared to seek their true potential of who they are or who they could be. I remember this one day when I was still in high school. I was hanging out with a couple of my friends when eventually it was time to go home. So I went to the train station, and as I was waiting for the train, this man approached me and asked where I was coming from. And this is Boston, so every now and then people do ask for directions or just want to talk to you, so it wasn't out of the normal. I replied assuming he was trying to start a conversation or something. Mind you, it was probably 9 or 10 p.m., and there was nobody else but me and this man in this train station. Not exactly a good position for a 15-year-old WINDE to be in. Anyway, he asked me where I was coming from. I replied and I said I was hanging out with a couple of my friends after school. But I remember that he told me that he knew I was lying and knew that I was with a girl and that it's okay. At this point, I started to contemplate and think maybe bro was a crackhead and that I probably shouldn't be talking to him because I wasn't with a girl and his eyes looked as if they were dozing off. Luckily, the train arrived. I hopped in, he went right after. I sat down and he sat right next to me. He continues the conversation and tells me that I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be walking girls home and pretty much being affectionate towards them. Then asks me if I've ever seen one of these. He pulls out a ski mask from his hoodie. I reply with a simple head nod, not necessarily sure where his intentions in the conversation were anymore. The vibe had shifted. It went from him simply giving me advice to him no longer smiling and seeming to be a bit more hostile with his tone. I could also smell the alcohol coming from his breath. He told me I didn't know anything about this, referring back to his ski mask and saying the people nowadays in my generation aren't like they were back in his. He rambles about kids being more soft nowadays and looking at me as if he's trying to insinuate I am too. As we get closer to the final stop of the train, he stands up and says to me, "I hope you understand what I'm telling you, and that he hopes he taught me something." Then follows up with a, "Now get the fuck out of my way and let me handle some business," putting his ski mask on as he walks off the train. Bro is a crack at 100%. But don't get me wrong, I was shook. The point of my story was I'm not quite sure what could have happened to me that day. For all I know, this man could have done something much worse to me than just talk to me and somewhat threaten me. This wasn't my first nor my last incident like this, but it was one of my first times being put in a position in which I was able to look back and think, what if? What if something within that encounter would have turned south? I don't know what else he had on him besides that ski mask. I don't know what his original intentions with our conversations were either. Maybe he was trying to rob me and just changed his mind last minute. I'll never truly know. But it makes me wonder, what if Kafka kept pursuing his passion for writing and never stopped trying to get his writings published and was able to see his success and his impact while alive? Or what if Walt Disney said, "Nah, making cartoons are stupid, I'ma just get a real job," and then just stop drawing? Or what if LeBron James said, "Nah, basketball might not be for me," and then just stopped?
Like, I hate wasted potential. That shit crushes your spirit.
Look at you, look at you, look at you. Oh, they got you standing on the rim.
Don't let your dreams be what ifs. Like J. Cole said, if you let them kill your dreams, it'll haunt you.
You gotta get out here, baby. You gotta get out here, baby. We got London on the track.
I believe we are all unique and have a purpose we need to fulfill within our lives. We should find out what it is and embrace it. Kafka is an example of how we should believe in ourselves, push through all the BS, and never give up. He was known to be one of the most prominent literary and philosophical figures, and his life's work was just buried in some drawer, not knowing that his works were some of the best works of recent history. He wanted to hide his universal calling, and because of that, he was never able to reap the benefits he deserved within his lifetime. Tomorrow isn't promised. Some of us have 75 years, some of us probably have more. But some of us don't have a lot, and you don't know when your day will come. Find yourself, and then try to go as far as you can without second thought. Don't count yourself out.
I wanna go home.
What's going on, JR?
Bro, this is the second time. The Forest fucking Hill fucking train has stopped twice in a matter of like 15 minutes.
What time is it?
9:43. I'm hungry as shit too, bro. Damn. I wanna go home.